Welcome to Capitol Preview, a weekly bipartisan discussion with Iowa legislators about the key issues facing our state. Brought to you by Mediacom.
Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Capitol Preview. My name is Bill Peard. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Iowa Cable and Telecommunications Association. We put this program on in conjunction with our partners, Mediacom, for the MC22 channel. Capitol Preview talks to the representatives and senators on issues that are important to Iowans at the Capitol this session. Our guest this morning is Representative Brian Lohse. He's a Republican from District 30, and he represents East Polk County. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Nice seeing you. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming. We have some questions that I'd like to ask you and kind of get some expansion on a little bit. I got a little personal stuff to visit with you about, but it's a conversational thing, and so just feel free. Okay. The first term of the Iowa House, how are things going so far? This is your first year, I'm sorry.
Yes, very first year, first time I've been elected to this type of office. The biggest thing is it's busy. Yeah. Constant movement, always things going on. I've learned, I've never seen time fly so fast and yet crawl so slow at the same time. I don't know how exactly that happens.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We're into our, I think we're starting our 5th week now, which is hard to imagine. It's already in week 5. But at the same time, it seems like I've been up there forever already.
You know, and I'm up there 3.5 out of the 5 days too, and I agree with you. They are really going through the bills. It seems like this year they're introducing them fast and taking action on them fast this year. So
yes.
What are you most looking for in this session? What does Representative Lohse want to do?
The biggest thing especially for this very first session of my 2-year term, one is to learn the ropes, figure out how things work, make sure I have a complete understanding of, how the budget gets together, how school funding goes together. Those are extremely complicated tasks. So, so in addition to representing my district, I certainly just want to learn, sit back, learn how things are done, how to make sure things can get done in the proper way, so I can better represent my constituents.
You're vice president of the local government committee. You've had some experience in that area, have you not?
Yes, I've for the past 10 to 12 years, I've served Bondurant on its city council, and before that, planning and zoning for a short time. So I've have some experience in local government. I've also been very involved as well with the economic development, both for the city of Bondurant as well as East Polk, for the past, about the past 10 years. So
that has helped you a lot.
It has, and I certainly have a great understanding. I hope I can bring a great understanding and good perspective of someone who has served in those roles and have an understanding of what cities are going through as they meet the challenges of lack of resources, because everybody doesn't have enough, and certainly rapid growth, as Bondurant's one of the fastest growing towns in Iowa.
Then I'm going to tell you, as experience in local government as well, leave local government alone.
Yes, that is
and
certainly.
You appreciate that as much as anybody, right?
I do. Certainly, that is one of the things that I know that the chairman of local government, Jane Bloomingdale from up northern Iowa, that's one of her mantras as well, is let them do their thing, give them the tools that they need to do the work they need to do, but otherwise, generally, local knows best.
Well, and I'm sure that's why they put you on the local government committee, because as somebody that understands and can explain to people when they're having conference meetings and debates on the floor. So
yes.
What are some of the legislators' top priority this season?
I think we can sum it up in 4 big things. One is education, making sure that schools have finding as much additional funding as what we can for them, and the school infrastructure tax, the SAVE tax, that's a big priority as well. Mental health, both improving on the adult system that was put in place last year, trying to find funding that we can do on a sustainable, long-term manner, as well as instituting a children's and youth, adolescent mental health care, and in my priority, make sure that addiction is a part of both of those, but especially in the children's area.
But, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, and then the other thing is rural Iowa, and incentivizing business to go, not only bringing business here, but also bringing, making sure they have the population and the things to do to feed those businesses and to grow those areas and to improve the state overall.
It's one of the problems, isn't it, that you don't have the businesses always to feed the schools out in rural Iowa.
That's correct. That's one of the reasons that school funding is important and how that's structured and getting additional funding. But that is certainly one of the problems. Bondurant is lucky enough, and Southeast Polk, they're two growing communities and growing school districts. Bondurant, astronomical growth. So they don't face quite the same problems that some of the rural areas are facing. And certainly we want to find creative ways to bring, if we can bring business, we can bring people, find places for them to live, things to do, but then hopefully they'll bring their children as well and populate those schools and even some of that out.
I agree. In fact, I think the Republicans are going to debate education this week.
As a matter of fact, I believe it's on the debate calendar today for the school funding bill, and so that'll be, I think, this afternoon.
It'll be an interesting debate.
It'll see how I'm anxious to see how weather flies in the legislature, whether or not that'll cause any delays of that. But
you know what, I'm going to say, and I haven't been a representative down there, but I haven't seen anything that has stopped the legislature from going through.
I don't anticipate it either. But
so what else can Iowans expect from you all regarding education? I mean, you kind of covered it a little bit, but I just guess it's going to be around for a long time to come because it happens every session. Education.
Yes, every year education is at or more, and certainly more than 50% of the budget. So it is the biggest line item in the budget is the education. So that is the first thing that we certainly want to give some clarity to the schools as early as possible. So that's the biggest push, and anything that takes up that much of the budget. Some of the other priorities with respect to education is obviously the SAVE tax, the local or the option, or the 1 penny tax that we've all gotten used to now. We're looking at extending that. I've heard the word permanent thrown around every now and again, but we'll see if that happens. But certainly extending that for a significant time is high on the priority list. I think there's some good bipartisan support for that, but we'll see how that plays out. So
it seems like this year the working relationship between the Republicans and the Democrats seems a lot more favorable this year, to come up with some solution. Because education is always a big tug and pull, down there between the different parties.
So far, I've in subcommittees and different things, we've had to work together. I'll be proud to say that of the 12 bills that have passed out of the Judiciary Committee, which I'm on that as well, all 12 have garnered overwhelming bipartisan support. I think there was only one bill that didn't pass out with on a unanimous vote, Republican Democrats. So I haven't run into any that I can have a conversation with and enjoy talking to, and that are very reasonable.
You said you briefly mentioned or touched on mental health. And you said that mental health is a big priority this year. What can Iowans expect in this area from you or from the legislature in general?
I think first and foremost, they instituted a plan last year for an adult mental health system. We certainly want to build on that, continue to make that better, seek long-term funding for that as well, and figure out how that works. The other piece of that is then finding the right mental health for children and adolescents, that system, so that they can get the help that they need. What that looks like and how that gets funded as well is a big piece. That's a priority for me as well. Especially one of my priorities is to make sure that The addiction conversation doesn't get lost in that shuffle because those two go together so squarely in that discussion. So I just want to make sure that gets addressed as well.
And we certainly can't leave Medicaid out because it's been talked about so much. It's been beaten to death. So
It has.
We heard a lot about this program during the last election. What can be done to improve our system? I know you're in the process of working on that right now. So.
Yes, yeah, that is certainly a big piece of the puzzle, and a big piece of the puzzle in the budget as well. And that making sure that those costs are accounted for in the budget in a sustainable manner, in a way that we can truly budget for that. That's part of the reason for the MCOs. Certainly something I heard about pretty much every day on the campaign trail. Yeah. So, we want to continue to monitor it closely, to monitor the MCOs, make sure that they're doing the things that they're supposed to do, that the coverage that's supposed to be provided is provided, that providers are paid in an appropriate and timely manner. Last year in the session, they passed the strongest oversight in the nation. We want to continue to improve on that, and those requirements are now being written into the MCO contracts, give us a little more leverage and teeth to make sure that MCOs are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
So good things come out of issues, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing, and any time that you can work to improve, there's going to be problems any time you make such a big transition.
Right.
Unfortunately.
That's right.
And you gotta work to improve those and work together to improve those, and not doing with a pointing fingers at each other. Really, I think the better way to do is, seek to address the issues in a civilized manner and work together to find the right answers and just be forthright. But in the end, it comes down to we got to make sure our citizens are protected, and we want to make providers are one of those certainly.
Right.
And just go about holding the MCO's feet to the fire to make sure that those things happen.
I think that's going to happen.
So I think so too. So.
You also mentioned, you touched on rural Iowa. What are some of your additional plans? I know you touched a little bit on rural Iowa and how rural Iowa feeds the school systems.
Right. Yeah. Rural Iowa, we need to make sure that they're not lost in the shuffle as far as job opportunities and businesses and incentivizing businesses, not just to come into Des Moines and Council Bluffs and Davenport and Iowa City, but certainly make sure that we are incentivizing businesses to come into and build, and because that's a big part of economic development, not just new business, but expanding local business. Incentivizing those businesses to get into rural Iowa as much as into the population centers. Part of the call that has been housing. If people don't have a place to live, it's kind of hard to bring a business there. So there are certainly, there are certainly initiatives. There's several initiatives that have been underway, and we've seen a couple I've seen a couple bills that are focused specifically on bringing more housing to rural Iowa, more affordable housing to rural Iowa. That's one of those issues. Another big issue is broadband and Wi-Fi or internet connectivity. From a school standpoint, broadband is so important. Because I've got 3 kids in high school and college, and most of their stuff is online.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just the way things are going. So expanding broadband not only for education but also businesses. Businesses these days can't live without a website and a Facebook and an Instagram apparently. So those are important to have those connectivity issues and addressed to build business and to bring business in.
Representative, we're about out of time here, so I'm going to wrap it up a little bit. But I just wanted to thank you. It's been a great conversation, and you seem to be off and running. And good luck to you. And our guest today was Brian Lohse, Republican from District 30, East Polk County. We appreciate you very much being on Capitol Preview.
Thank you for having me.